Hello, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fine.
Could you please state your name, your address, and your birthday, please?
My name is Edward Frank. My birthday is December 9th, 1982.
Your address?
My address is 630 Esperanza Drive, Port Allen, Louisiana, 70767.
And what branch of service were you in?
I served in the United States Army.
Okay. Were you enlisted or were you drafted?
I enlisted at 18.
Okay. And where are you from?
I'm from Port Allen, Louisiana.
Okay. And when you joined the military, where did you do your basic training?
I did my basic training in Fort Jackson, South Carolina.
Okay. Are you a veteran?
Yes, I am a veteran.
What war did you serve in?
I served in enduring Iraqi freedom in the year 2003.
Can you tell me why did you join the military?
I joined the military because I wasn't ready for school and I wanted to challenge myself by doing something.
Okay. And why did you pick the Army instead of the Navy, instead of the Marine Corps?
I had a choice between a couple of branches. I chose the Army because my dad was in the Army. He felt it was a good place for me and something that I would like.
Do you recall your first days in the service?
Yes, I do recall. It was very challenging to be away from home for the first time in my life without my parents. I had a lot of people, new experiences, and it was just an eye-opener of new people and new situations.
Okay. Tell me what boot camp where were your boot camp, and tell me about your boot camp experience.
My boot camp experience was, like I said before, it was eye-opening. A couple of days into my boot camp, September 11th happened. So my boot camp experience changed drastically in a matter of a couple of days. But all in all, it was a great experience and I learned a lot.
Do you remember any of your instructors? If any of them stuck out to you, do you remember any of them?
I remember a few. Drill Sergeant Jarvie, Drill Sergeant Guy, Drill Sergeant Jackson. They all had a big influence on me. They taught me a lot, and I really stuck to them because they seemed like family, a part of my family that I was missing at the time.
How did you get through basic training?
Holding on to soon I get to see my parents again. I had never been separated from them, so I felt the sooner I get finished with basic training, the better I do, the sooner I get to see them again.
Okay. And what war did you serve in again?
Enduring Iraqi freedom.
Okay. So where exactly did you go?
When I first was deployed, I was deployed to Kuwait. From Kuwait, we traveled across the border 3 days after, and I began to travel the country of Iraq, ending in Balad, Iraq.
Okay. Do you remember when you arrived, what it was like?
It was...
What were you feeling? What was it like?
It was darkness, bleak, wasn't a happy place, wasn't a happy time.
Okay. What was your job assignment?
My job assignment, I was a supply specialist for the 642nd Engineering Company.
Okay. Did you see any combat? Were there any casualties in your unit?
No casualties in my unit.
Okay. And what unit were you in?
I was in the 642nd Engineering Company.
Can you tell me about one of your most memorable experiences? Something that just stuck out to you, something that you remember.
In Iraq?
Yes.
One of the most memorable experiences I had while being in Iraq. Tough one. Good or bad?
It doesn't matter. Good, bad, something that you just remember.
Really don't have nothing good or bad. Just
Any combat stories, something that happened?
I guess I remember more of the people. I don't remember situations. I just remember people. I remember the laughter we had, bonding together. I remember watching the movie over 60 times every single day for the first 3 or 4 months when we were in our main station. We watched Night of the Roxbury every single night. That was like the movie that put everybody to sleep every night. So everybody would meet in the common room, and we all would sit in there, and we'll watch the same movie because that's the only thing we had. We had that and each other. So that's what I remember the most about being in Iraq, watching that movie every single night before we went to bed.
Okay. Were you a prisoner of war?
No, I was not a prisoner of war.
How did you stay in touch with your family?
I had we had a way. We had to get on the phone. We had to call an operator, operator in Germany or in the United States, and they'll patch us through to our family. Once you get a patch through to your family, you get to talk on the phone with your family for however long the patch lasts most times, or you can go to the call center and contact your family.
That's how y'all in form of communication? Did anyone write you letters or anything?
Oh yeah, we had we had letters. I received a letter every day from my wife. Every single day, my wife wrote me a letter. My mom sent me packages. My wife sent me packages. I had family members to send me letters. I had total strangers send me letters. It was just very uplifting when mail day came and you received a piece of mail.
What was the food like?
We had a nice selection of food. But at the beginning, we didn't have much food. We had, it's called T-Rats, and it was like dehydrated meals that they added water to rehydrate it. So we ate that for the first 4 months, and then when stuff started to build up, the war was over, and we started to establish civilization there again. We had regular food. We had brown and root cafeteria, like their logistics system come over, and they had a cafeteria. They had cafeteria personnel where we had many choices of omelets and other items to eat. It was just like being at a regular cafeteria at that point. But yeah.
Did you have plenty of supplies?
Once again, not at first. For the first 4 or 5 months, it was no supplies at all. We had to break branches out of trees to sweep the floors. We had to use bottles of water to keep our daily hygiene up. We didn't have many supplies at all at first, but as things progressed and the war ended, more items started to funnel into us by the end of our deployment.
Did you feel, was there something special you did for good luck?
I carried a Bible in my pocket with my daughter's sonogram.
And how old is your daughter today?
My daughter is 18, approaching 19 in a few months. Mm-hmm. I have another one now that's 15.
How did people entertain themselves?
We watched Night at the Roxbury every night for the first 4 or 5 months. Then we started getting like a mail supply in, so we watched a lot of DVDs. And around 8 months of the deployment, we was able to get a video game system. So we started playing a video game system we had towards the end of our deployment. Okay. And we played sports, a lot of sports. We played basketball, football, soccer, anything to pass time away once we got off of work for the day.
So when you were not in Iraq and you were back at your duty station, what did you do when you was on leave? Like when you go on leave, where would you go? What would you do?
I would go home with my wife to visit her family, and I would come back to Louisiana to visit my family.
Mm-hmm. Where did you travel to while you was in the service?
Outside of being deployed?
Yes, outside of being just...
Didn't really travel to the local places. Went to Canada once. Went pretty much just around my duty station to different places in New York. Went to Washington, D.C. before. Went to Charlotte, North Carolina. And other places just kind of passed through. But went to Virginia Beach. Just up and down the East Coast. Went to a few states and kind of just passed through and that's about it. Just passed through most of the states.
Like I said, back at your duty station outside of Iraq, what were some of the pranks that you and others would pull? Maybe in Iraq or just at your regular duty station?
Regular duty stations, snowball fights. May have a few until you get in trouble about them. But really wasn't big on pranks. Nobody I dealt with really, that was the most. We'd kind of throw a couple snowballs at one another in New York, but other than that, wasn't big on pranks.
Mm-hmm. What did you think of officers or fellow soldiers? How did you feel about your officers or fellow soldiers?
Like fellow soldiers, officers. Some of them were down to earth. Some of them felt as if they were on a different level. didn't appreciate us. So I really missed and enjoyed my fellow soldiers, but officers just not my type of people.
Did you keep a personal diary?
No, never kept a personal diary at all.
Do you recall the day your service ended?
Yes and no. I can't say that I remember the official day. I remember the official day I left from the military.
Do you remember where you were?
Yeah, I remember leaving from New York, but I don't remember my actual last day of my military service when I walked away. I don't remember it, but I do remember my last day in New York as I pulled away.
Once you left the military, what did you do in your days and weeks afterward?
I came back home, visited family members, and then I began to work.
And where did you work?
West Baton Rouge Sheriff Department.
While you was in the service, did you make any close friendships and keep in contact with them today?
Yes, I have several people that I still communicate with, have real close friendships with, and talk to on a regular basis to this day.
Are you currently with the Sheriff's Department, or where are you working now?
No, I'm not currently with the Sheriff's Department. I'm with another organization.
And what's the name of that organization, sir?
Entergy.
Entergy.
Yes.
Did your military experience influence your thinking about war or about the military in general?
Yes and no. Yes and no.
Can you tell me how, sir?
How does it affect my thinking?
Yes.
It gave me insight on different things that I wasn't exposed to before. It showed me the harsher side of humanity, and it showed me the kinder side of humanity. It just shed light on a lot of things that one can be proud of, and one can be one won't be proud of. It just showed you a lot. It showed you the ugly side of people. It showed you the good side of people. It showed you who cared and who doesn't care. It shows you a lot. It just wakes you up to a different light.
Have you ever thought about joining any type of veteran organizations, or are you in any veterans organizations?
No. I kind of want to leave that to where it is. It's those days over. I'm moving on with my life. I have a beautiful wife and 2 kids that I adore, and I find no other time to do things like that. It's not that I'm opposed to doing anything like that. It's just not something I want to dwell on, keep talking about the military, because most organizations like that kind of harp on things and live in the past, and I don't live in the past. I live for the future.
You mentioned earlier that you kept in contact with fellow soldiers. So do y'all often have reunions? Do y'all actually?
Never had a reunion, but I have met up with some of them. And one in particular, we meet, kind of see each other at least once a year or so. But I continuously communicate with several of them.
Being that you went to Iraq, you served in the war, and just being a soldier all around, how does your service experience affect your life? Just being in the service, being in Iraq, how does it affect your life?
It just gives you a different outlook on life. It makes you appreciate life because, people didn't make it where you are now. So it just makes you appreciate life.
Is there anything you would like to add that we have not covered in this interview?
It's not really. Pretty much covered everything. I appreciate my time in the military. It afforded me an opportunity to meet a beautiful lady that I've had a wonderful 20-year life with so far and plan on having many more. It taught me things that I will never forget, and it pretty much made me part of who I am today. Can't give it all the credit, but it did do a lot for me, and I appreciate that, and I take that with me, and I will build on top of what I learned there and pass what I learned there to others.
Thank you very much, Edward Frank, and that will conclude this interview.